Has this not been maybe the strangest American League and National League Championship series we have seen in a long time? I mean, no road team has won a game yet. The Dodgers are up 2-0 on the Brewers, a Dodger team who wavered for the regular season, really struggled in the back end of their bullpen, and then all of a sudden, here in the postseason, Blake Snell and Yoshi Yamamoto come out in 17 combined innings. I believe four combined hits from the Dodgers starters in the first two games of the NLCS, and a Brewer lineup that hit for power was on an incredible streak that broke away from the Cubs about midway through the summer as clearly the best team in the National League Central and a team that defeated the Dodgers 6-0, 6-0, swept them in LA, swept them in Milwaukee in the regular season. Now has their backs against the wall tonight. And Milwaukee brought their ace Peralta in game two, and it just did not matter. And the thing about the Dodgers is, Shohei Ohtani has not even played well. I think he's hitting about 200 this postseason. Mookie Betts is not showing up, but it's been the other guys, right? Freddie Freeman, Will Smith. I mean, they have an incredible lineup there with the Dodgers. And again, what I think is their weakness, their bullpen outside of their closure. They haven't gone to it because they've gotten 17 innings out of their starting staff, and we don't see that in baseball one anymore. Obviously, starters we've seen go four, five, maybe like five and a third, five and two thirds. You rarely see a starter get through 6 innings now in a postseason game. And so Milwaukee obviously now going to LA. Do they copy the Blue Jays formula that Toronto did last night, which Shane Bieber gives up an early two-run homer to Julio Rodriguez? Seattle has all the momentum. They're looking to go 3-0 in the series. Randy Johnson throws out the first pitch. And then from there, Andres Gimenez hits a home run, and it's all Blue Jays who just took out their frustration. Again, this was a team we weren't sure their starting pitching was going to match up against Seattle, but their lineup matches up against anybody in the league. I still think Seattle does have control of this series, but all of a sudden that narrative flips. I mean, could both of these series remind you of the Texas Houston series from a couple years ago where the road team won all 7 games? So I've always said home field advantage in baseball doesn't matter. Baseball is a weird sport, right? You're only as good as momentum takes you as your next day's starter. And momentum can be weird. You can be in a slump hitting as a team, or you just hit everything as a team. It's kind of how it works. So I'm not ready to say the series is over, though I think the Mariners and Dodgers are both in control. I think that the Dodgers starting pitching right now is so good that it can carry them all the way through. Now, if they are in a close, low scoring game, because again, their lineup has not been lethal outside of the wild card 2-game series against the Reds. They struggled with timely hitting, or especially early in games against the Phillies. It's why they didn't sweep the Phillies. It's why it took them extra innings to beat them in game four. So their lineup is not going crazy with all these home runs and beating up people the way Seattle and Toronto have. They have done it with good timely hitting and great, tremendous starting pitching that has unbelievably carried over. And if the Dodgers give this starting pitching the rest of the series, this thing will be over in four. And I'm not sure if the Dodgers get 6, 7 innings every night out of their starters. And obviously, they dealt with injuries early on in this season. They barely won the NL West over the San Diego Padres. But this team looks like they're peaking at the right time. And out of the 4 teams left, I know that they just won the World Series last year. And again, it's nothing against the Dodgers. If they win this World Series and go back to back, obviously there'll be a dynasty in Shohei Ohtani, who is already the face of baseball for baseball's best market and the best run team. They will be rewarded for it, and there will be no hate. But there is something about Seattle never been to a World Series. Toronto hasn't been there since 1993. Milwaukee's only been to one World Series. They lost in 7 games in 1982 to the St. Louis Cardinals. I think there's something cool. It would be almost Indians Cubs 2016-esque of Mariners versus Brewers and those two franchises competing for their first ever World Series as opposed to the Dodgers in Toronto, who of course have already won World Series. I think we're looking at Dodgers Mariners again. Now, tonight will be very interesting for Toronto. Can they carry that momentum over into game four? We obviously have two games today. We have game four of the ALCS and game three of the NLCS. I don't think Milwaukee could come back down 3-0. I'm not even sure they'd come back down 2-0 against the Dodgers. I think it's really hard to beat a Dodger team 4 out of 5. I think they had to win one of those two games to keep home field advantage somewhat. And again, it's not even about home field advantage. It's just about how the math plays out. Seattle's been a very streaky team this year where they were red hot, coming into the season. They were red hot at home, 24-7 down the stretch at home. And Toronto, who's been very good all season long, just played their best brand of baseball. So I think those are two heavyweight fights. If I had to guess, I do think Seattle does finish this thing off, but I think it may take 5 or 6. I don't think it goes 7. And it really depends on Dodgers Brewers tonight, the way that game looks. Because right now, to me, the Dodgers are going to wrap this thing up in 5 in LA. I think Milwaukee may steal game three. Dodgers come back and win game four and game five. And I think if the Dodgers go up against Seattle or Toronto, they're very similar to Milwaukee, where they're balanced. They have a great lineup, but if that Dodger starting rotation comes through, I don't think either of those two teams in the American League have a chance. If I had to guess right now, I think the World Series champion does come out of the National League, which I think has been overall stronger this year than the American League. Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.